And good morning, Hoosier fans, and welcome to hopefully the final, at least the final of the regular season disappointing edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Purdue. I'm your host, Chad Schwarzkopf. Thanks for joining me this morning, guys. Yesterday afternoon, your Hoosiers go on to lose the 7th straight game against Purdue. That stings. 67-58 in a game that started off hot. IU knew with that, figured out that box, checked off that box off the list, and able to get off to a good start. And then just really the tail of the tape and what kind of gave the game away was the rest of the play after that. After about the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of the first half, and the rest of the first half, just shooting the ball very poorly, having breakdowns on defense, not knowing what to do with Edey, which he's a big guy, freak of nature, but just not making shots and having open looks. That's the most disturbing thing about this team, and one that blame goes all around for, I guess. But the plays are getting guys open looks. The plays are there, the rotations are there, the passes are there, and the guys are getting good open looks. They're just clanging, they're missing completely, and all that missing in the first half, well, I mean, looking at the numbers, it levels the game out fairly well. They start the game, the first half are 8 for 27. That's 29% from the field, and 1 for 13 from 3. Not even 8%. So that's horrendous. And then you go the second half and shoot it pretty decently. 48%, 12 for 25 from the field, and 4 for 10 from the field, or from the 3. That's great. And even 76% from free throw. It's unfathomable. I mean, the team shows you it can do it, and it can get it done. They just can't piece it together for long enough. And if you average that out, they average out shooting 38% from the field and 21 from 3. So if you take if you take and apply what they did in the first half, if you apply, what they did in the second half to the first half, and have that, I mean, even diminish it slightly, you're talking about 15 plus missed points from Indiana in those missed shots. And maybe some of that was Purdue's defense, but not really. I don't know why you have players that have proven that they can shoot it and can be so hot in other games, and then just have these moments of being so cold. For me, that's obviously the biggest storyline, is missing those shots, and then where you go next is just poor decision making. Just there were multiple times, even in the second half, where poor decision making stopped a possible comeback and a possible run. Around the 13-minute mark in the second half, IU was down by 7. Anthony Leal makes a 3-pointer. We go down, we get a defensive stop. We're coming back the other way, and Al does his normal drives to nowhere, where he thinks he's going to be able to draw a foul every time. Somehow he's confident that that's going to happen every time that he does this play. And he tries to do some crazy scoop as he's almost jumping horizontally towards the basket against really big Purdue guys. Edey is in there, I believe, at that point. And he misses, obviously. Doesn't get the foul called. And whether there was one there or not, I'm not arguing that. Just purely the decision making at this point, which causes him, when he does those and doesn't get the foul called, he's usually on the ground at the baseline. The team gets the rebound. They're running the other way, and IU's at a disadvantage, 4v5, and they find a Purdue player in the corner, open for three, and he makes it. And it's back up by 7 again. That's a 5-point swing right there. You're down by 4, and your senior leader makes a decision like that. Again, I'm never putting down the players as people and their effort to play and want to stay and play for IU. There's just the decision making in these crunch times is not good. Has not been good this year. And that's been the difference in a lot of games, and a few close games where IU could have closed out and done well. And is that on the players? Yeah. Is that on the coaching staff? Yeah, probably that too. You sit him down, and every time he does that, you drill in his head, stop doing that. Set up a play. Let's get a good look. That's not a good look. Now, maybe it's a decision because Al's one of our only down the hill guys, especially in a game like today where we don't have our main downhill guy in Armaan Franklin, that he feels like he needs to create and open up the offense by doing things like that. I get that. Otherwise, if IU's not making shots, we're very one-dimensional. If we're not making outside shots, we're not a threat to drive to the basket. All of Purdue players might as well just stand around, and everyone should guard Trayce Jackson-Davis. So maybe that's the decision-making there by the coaching staff to not hark on him for that, because we have had plenty of games where we've argued that we're not a north-south team. We don't have many players that go north-south. Armaan Franklin is basically it. And he was sorely missed in this game. He could have been greatly used in this game. He was needed. Could have been the difference in this game if we had him. A little more consistent shooter. Again, more dynamic with his game, so opens up other things. His 1-2 game on the side with Trayce Jackson-Davis is really good. So that would just open things up for Trayce again. I mean, I spoke at length about this. I believe on the last game, was that the way the substitutions have to be right now. You had Trey again over there with Trayce Jackson-Davis. When you try to play a 2-man game on the side like that, again, it doesn't work. Now, Trey luckily was able to hit one of those 3-pointers. It was much needed. It was good in rhythm and everything, and maybe that did open a few things up. But until things get more consistent with that, I don't know. I mean, I was looking at IU's sideline, and there were 3 players that weren't dressed for this game. And each of those 3 players, I believe, could have had a really big positive effect on this game. Joey Brunk could have been great in there, trying to work on Edey. Just having his physicality, his maturity. Obviously, I've already spoken about Armaan Franklin, having him in there. Then yes, I'm going to speculate about Patrick, who's going to come in. I think he shows that he's what you've seen from his highlights at Pitt, his freshman year, and things that he's done the previous year, last year, that he can be a consistent shooter in D1 ball. So that's another one that those three in there, and I believe IU wins again with that. I'm sorry I'm going to be hypothetical. I'm sorry I'm going to be a positive guy and everything with that. But if you're getting those same open looks, you can't tell me that you feel more confident about those shots going in with Armand Franklin, or even just from what you know about Stewart. I mean, that's how it is. That's sadly how our personnel falls right now. Leal is struggling to find his shot for some reason, not finding it in the rhythm of the game. He didn't get as many minutes today. Let me see how many minutes. He got 3 minutes. I feel like that was kind of a microcosm because of Stevanovic. Was really kind of having his way with him on the offensive side, on the defensive side for Indiana. And so that's why I believe he wasn't hitting the threes and was causing a trouble on defense a little bit. So I think that's why he didn't see as many minutes as he needed to. One bright spot that I will talk about is I continue to like the effort that I see out of Jordan Geronimo. And we've seen little glimpses of him doing some great things, just hustle plays. There was times as well that he was open and didn't get the pass. So he's putting himself in great positions. So I like his game, and I like him moving forward. And again, I like the base that I see from these freshmen. And it's sad we've had this kind of year that hasn't been able to get their feet wet in easier games. They've had to kind of get their feet wet in some tough games. And they're coming along, and I'm confident about the future with them. And not just because of the skills that they bring, but the attitude that they bring. So I'm excited for that. And maybe the last thing I'll speak on this game is, and this will be criticism to the coaching staff. I can't remember who was the sportscaster that said this. It might have been Jay Billis. But anyways, a few games ago, we get these great pick and rolls that happen. And IU has some great action for that. And finish at a high percentage when we do those plays. But we go to those plays so infrequently. And if we're able to get baskets from that, I'm running that play every time down the floor. Maybe take one or two off to just kind of mix them up and rather than passing it off, fake the pass off and kick it, or Lander or Rob keep the ball instead and drive, so it keeps them honest to stay, so they don't adjust. But keep just drilling that play and make them stop it. That way you're at least getting confident looks. And especially in a game like last night was where it could have really excelled against a freak of nature in Edey who is not going to be able to move as fast. I mean, Trace proved that. Great pick and roll, or when Trace got the ball a little bit higher and was able to dribble on him, guys cleared out space and got to the basket. He got to the basket easily around him. And not only is that going to get him good looks each time, that's going to wear out Edey. May even get him into foul trouble because he may start to get frustrated from it and start to try to reach and do things. So there's where my criticism lies mostly. I mean, there's other criticisms to say for the coaching staff, but that's where it mainly sits for me. And again, I just it's the tale of two halves for me. And when IU was having a decent second half and could claw close back into this game, they just couldn't couldn't get over that hump. Just can't get over that hump, can't finish it off. So IU now goes into the Big Ten tournament. It's a 10 seed. They will have the 6:30 game on Thursday against Rutgers. They've got to go deep in this. They win that game, and they've got a matchup against Illinois, team that's given us some struggles, but we've showed when we can click on all cylinders, we can take them to overtime. We can win games against them. So it's got to be a deep run. We got to win that game. We got to win the Illinois game. We might have to win 3 to make the tournament for this. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a very interesting tournament. Then if we're out right away, it's going to be a very interesting, very, very interesting offseason this year, guys. I don't pretend to know what to do. I don't pretend to know what the finances situation is for IU, where athletics sits. Scott Dawson has a really tough time, really tough decision to make. And if the finances of the athletic department are in any trouble at all, or any struggles at all, or any question marks at all, Archie will be back next year. And that's the decision that I would make if I was Scott Dawson. And I know, unpopular as it may be right now, the hot thing on Twitter, yes, is to fire Archie. But I'm looking big picture if I'm Scott Dawson, and if you fire him, for one, even out of the argument, you're not just firing him to get rid of him. IU has to have the right person coming in if you get rid of Archie. You're not getting rid of something just to get rid of it. You have to have the proper thing to come back in. Otherwise, it's going to be doomed to repeat. We can't settle if they're looking for a coach. If it's that situation, if it comes to that situation, you can't settle. But in the meantime, with the way his contract is, getting rid of him in this offseason, he is still owed the remainder of his contract. That continues on through payoffs till the contract, monthly payoffs, yearly, until his contract ends. So that's just a constant hit to the budget. And yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't know. Well, again, it's going to be a long off season. We'll have a lot of time to debate that. So for now, let's tune in Thursday. Let's cheer for these guys. Send good vibes. Because from now and then, from the tip to the buzzer in that game, nothing we can say or do or waste our energy on right now is going to change who's coaching. So let's give all the support we can to those players that are on the court and hope for a good game and hope for some more W's. And I'll be there the whole time. So thanks for listening today, guys. Please like, subscribe, hit that thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. There you can find out more information about the show and find out when I'm going live and watch live. Special thanks to Bob Thompson, fellow Bloomington South grad, for producing the music you hear on the show. I'll be back again the morning after the next game. Maybe a quick one, as it's a Thursday night game and I'm working on Friday morning, but I'll try to get something out there. If not, catch me on Saturday morning. But until then, guys, go out there and have a wonderful day, and go Hoosiers.